Hi, welcome to Rose at Home. I'm Rose, and today I thought we'd take a little journey on Zillow. I've been using Zillow for the past few months to find the open houses that I've been taking you all on with my son Liam, and I realized the other day that I've gotten a lot better at it. There are actually things that I didn't know existed before that I was able to find and that maybe you haven't found either. So I thought I would just go through a kind of beginner-geared first-time homebuyer experience with Zillow to help you find the things that I have found as well. I'm going to need my glasses. And let's get started. All right, so obviously step one is go to Zillow.com. And you get this bar here that says enter. If you see me looking down, the laptop is literally right under you. So I'm just checking where we are on the laptop. So it says enter an address, neighborhood, city, or zip code. If you live in a large enough city to have numerous zip codes like mine, it helps you narrow it down, because when I first go into, as I've told you, I'm in Tallahassee. When I first look in Tallahassee, you'll see it goes, for me, it started at 550 listings, and that's because I've actually narrowed it down by one. But so on the first screen, and again, I'm in Tallahassee, you can look for things that are for sale, for rent, or that are sold. Sold is helpful because it does help you see kind of what things are being sold for in your area. I know there's a lot of news of, oh, there's real estate Armageddon. Oh, things are selling so much cheaper. Oh, things are selling so much more expensive. It depends on whose video you're watching. I honestly think it depends on your area. And yeah, trends are important, but you are a single, well, maybe a family, but you are an individual or an individual family, and so you're looking for you, not for greater real estate stuff, unless you're looking to become an agent. So it does help to kind of see what's going on in your area, to know what to expect and what's normal and what's something you gotta wonder what they're thinking. The next thing it asks for is a price range. So if you know that you don't need to see anything that's over $1 million or over $500,000 or whatever your max is. The first time I'm looking, and about once a week, I don't fill in either of these for the reason that sometimes things mess up. There was one house that is now on my watch list. They originally listed it for $2,789,000. And I thought that was insane. And I looked, and it quite obviously was. It was a mistake. And it was then repriced for $279,000 or whatever it was, which is still a little high for me, but it's a lot closer, especially if it drops some, because it's now been there for a little bit. So I don't narrow it down yet. I just, again, like seeing what's on the market. You can also narrow it by beds and baths. For me, I definitely need something that's a 2-bedroom, but for purposes of today, I'm not narrowing it down, but you can narrow it down. If you know you've got a large family and you need 4 bedrooms, this will keep this list a lot smaller and a lot more manageable. You can also narrow it down by the number of bathrooms. And then home type. This is one that I do, even when I like keeping it open. I'm going to actually do select all for right now. When I have select all in my local area, there are over 700 listings just within the city limits of Tallahassee. So there's a good chance there's a lot of options, but most of them are not going to be for you. And if that would be overwhelming, absolutely use this top bar to narrow it down. The one thing I always, or almost always, take off, or I notice when I don't, is lots or land. I am not in a position to build right now. That is just simply an impossibility for me. So by taking that off, it does, actually I think I'm still left with 500, but that 500 are all homes that I can look at. You can also take off if you don't want to be in a multifamily home, or you don't want to be in a townhouse, or you certainly don't want a condo. One thing that I learned on Zillow is that there's different types of financing for condos as opposed to regular houses. I haven't looked into it any more than that, but I do know that I see something that says condo and I kind of move on. If you're not looking for an apartment or not looking for a manufactured home, so you can click or unclick what it is you're not looking for and narrow it down that way. And I'm gonna save more for a little bit. So I've got my 500 listings, and right now I'm sorted by newest. I've been coming onto Zillow for a little bit, and so it does have a button for homes for you. And I don't exactly know how its algorithm works, but it'll pick things that it thinks that I would like. So I no longer get the $3 million mansions when I don't narrow it down by price. I get things that Zillow thinks I might like. But because I'm pretty open right now, I'm still checking things out. I tend to go newest because I've been through here before. So it helps me see kind of where I've been and what I've seen up until this point. Something I do personally because it helps me not miss anything is about once a week, I'll sort price low to high. And that way, if anything that I had seen before or that had come out new before, but had dropped to a price that's kind of on my radar, I'll see it at that point. I generally don't even click on or look at anything that's over 300,000 because with my salary, remember I'm a teacher, that's just not something that I can afford. I know that I have to stay under 3, and it would be nice to be close, really close to 2. But again, if something is listed at 250, 260, there's a chance it's going to drop to my price range. But if it's listed at 300, even if it drops, it's probably still going to be high for me. But sometimes something will drop and then it puts it now on my radar, even if it's a little over the top. So that's why I don't do that every day, because that would take a lot of time. So normally during the week, I just sort by newest, so I see what has come out since the last time I looked. And so let's look at newest now. We've got a couple of interesting options. I want to kind of click on something. Let's see what we can find. This is weird to me. This has been up for a day with no pictures, and I don't understand it. I feel like the point of Zillow is to show you pictures of homes. This one is absolutely 100% out of my price range, but it looks cute. I love craftsmen. So let's take a look at the individual listing. So all you've got to do to get here, you see something that sticks out, you just click on the house. And there you get a close-up. This one also has a 3D tour. I don't find them that impressive, but some people really insist on them. So here's what you see when you get there. You get a little save button, and I'll show you where things save in a little bit. You can share it. I don't think I've ever clicked more. Get new listings. I do get new listings in email, as you saw pop up, unless I cut that off. View owner dashboard. Well, we might explore this one together. What does that mean? Oh, yeah, that's not my house, so I don't need to view that. Okay. Okay, so this house is incredibly expensive, especially for a 3-bed, 3-bath, but it is over 3,000 square feet. So, and for those of you that don't know Tallahassee, this listing is in what is called our Midtown area. It's kind of like it sounds, the middle of town. The Zestimate is... I don't know why it did that. Normally it'll give you what they call a Zestimate. So based on their information and their algorithms, what they think that this house should be going for. A lot of times they're similar. Sometimes there's a huge discrepancy. And one thing that I've noticed is the huge discrepancies tend to happen with flips. So it'll say that the Zestimate is 150 and the house is listed at 275, but you can figure out later that it's a flip without anyone. For the most part, no one is going to say, hey, this is a flip. They're going to use other language. So back to here. So our overview first. They put in solar panels. I like that. They put in their kind of tags. There's not really that I've seen a place to search for tags, but they put them there if people are hoping to get something specific. And then they have this write-up. I always, if it's a house that I've liked enough to actually click it, I always click show more. You get a lot of info, not just from what they told you, but you also get info from what they don't tell you. And so both things are important to pay attention to. This charming, actually, let's look at the pictures. I don't think this came, I'm familiar with the area. I think this stonework was applied, but let's take a look at these images. So it still looks really pretty. I don't get what this square is. Hopefully they're not quite done with the landscaping when they took these pictures. Okay. So there's a lot in this room. It looks a little narrow, but that's our Midtown area has a lot of 1930s built craftsman bungalows, and so that's normal. They've got a lot of stuff in here that I think isn't adding to, I think is actually making it seem more narrow, and they have a scary clown, and I'm gonna click now. Okay, liquor for tall people again. I like this. This looks like a drink fridge. It is next to your, I guess that's a mic. I don't understand, but okay. I do like these cabinets with the glass front. That's nice. Okay. 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 I like the chandelier. That's nice. Okay. Well, it's not my taste, but it might be somebody's. So yeah. So you can see, oh my. There's a lot going on in that. Is that the kitchen? Is that, I think there's a window to the kitchen and the shower where you can maybe open it and get a drink. Okay. Okay. Some people need that, I'm guessing. Okay, I like this bed. So as you can see, you get pictures from different angles throughout the house. Oh, I do like the washer and I like this shelfie thing on the washer and dryer. You do get, they want to show it off. They're not going to show you, oh my. Okay. So that's nice. That's very, very nice. That's a nice closet. I understand why they advertise the closet. That is a nice closet. I think that's a window in the shower and that's next door. Okay, that's a thing. That's a thing. Okay. So I'm totally distracted. Oh, they have like an in-law suite or a little suite with a separate bedroom. That's okay. Okay, and so then you get to the end. It says, "Are you interested in taking a tour of this house?" So let me take these off because my light is reflecting in the lenses. So you'll get different angles. Sometimes you will see some really bad photography. One of the real estate agents that I met at an open house, just in passing, we were kind of talking about Zillow, but not about this specifically, but he mentioned that there are folks who don't hire a real estate agent, they hire a listing company, and so they either hire someone or something who aren't really photographers. And so you'll get some really bad pictures. There was one, I'm pretty sure it's sold now, but in every single picture at the very top was the finger of the person who was taking the pictures. Sometimes the pictures are taken from really weird angles is that like a security camera photo? It's from up in the ceiling, I don't understand. And a lot of times those are not represented by agents. The only thing I've noticed with those so far is they tend to not have open houses. So I see nothing other than what's on Zillow, because at this point I'm just doing open houses. So I can't really speak to how easy or difficult they are to work with as far as trying to buy one of those homes. But if you're looking for something and hoping to see an open house and you see really bad photography, and it'll have, instead of a real estate agent name, it'll have listyourhouse.com listed as the agent that's representing them, then you're not going to have an open house. They're probably not even local, and they're just managing it. That's also the house that I saw that was listed for 2.79 million, was one of those listing agents. They messed up a lot of things. They had the wrong number of bedrooms listed, like it was correct in the write-up, but then in the part right up here where it says 3 bedrooms, 3 bath, it said it was 2 bedrooms, but in the write-up it said it was 3 bedrooms. You'll see mistakes like those, and generally that means that they're with one of those companies. And so if you're looking for things for an open house, it's probably not going to show up. So let me continue with this. We've looked at these pictures. So a mother-in-law suite, that was that part that we saw that had the extra kitchen and little bedroom and all of that. Solar panels is nice. That closet was really nice. And so they'll have all sorts of different things up here. Things I see a lot are new appliances, new roof, new paint. And I'm not all that impressed with new paint. That's one thing I'm probably going to do myself, is paint. So then you get this write-up, and this one is really long. I don't know who Jeff Drake is. I'm gonna just kind of skip, because here is something that you do want to look for in these write-ups. Yes, they're going to, especially if they're written by actual agents, they're gonna be very flowery. They're gonna be very complimentary. Electrical, wiring, paneling, and plumbing in 2010, windows in 2010, light fixtures 2010, roof 2010. Roofs tend to be good for about 20 years, and that's when you start to see issues. So you've still got another 8 years on this roof. Insulation 2011, repastered, all of this stuff. Oh, there's a pool. I don't know why they wouldn't have put a picture of the pool in 2011. Okay, and so here's things that are more recent. HVAC. Okay, HVAC is 2021. HVAC is very expensive, and so having a recent HVAC is important. Basement and crawl space. We don't tend to have basements in Florida, so that's interesting. 2021. They've got an EV charger for electrical vehicle in 2022 and a whole home generator in 2021. So they did tell you how old the roof was, how old the HVAC. I'm in Florida, so HVAC is incredibly important. If it leaves it out, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's old, but it puts it at the top of your list of things to ask the agent when you go to the open house. And they should be able to tell you the answer to those questions. How old is the roof? How old is the HVAC? I have had agents respond with, well, it needs a new roof. If the offer is high enough, we will replace the roof. The house that I really liked, that was the multicolored house from last week's video, and you should watch that if you haven't yet. That one, he told us, like, how old is the HVAC? The HVAC is on its last legs. It is probably going to need to be replaced within the next year. So those are important questions to ask. They won't always volunteer it, but if you ask, I'm pretty sure they can't lie. Now, I guess they could lie and say, I don't know, in which case, to me, that's a bit of a red flag, because if you're trying to sell me a house, you should know how old the more expensive systems are. And roofs are very expensive. HVAC is very expensive. Okay, so as we come down, we get to see where the agency is. This is not one of those we just take pictures, which we could tell from the photo quality. They did a really good job with their pictures. But what you get here is a map. Now, you get a map and it will have you ask travel times for your commute. So I put in the address where I work because I don't like to drive. And since I don't like to drive, I would prefer something that is closer to work. Where I am right now is 15 to 16 minutes. So anything 16 minutes or less is an improvement on my current commute. The other thing that is important about this box is that you get the street view. Now, if this is another way to tell if something's a flip. If I'm looking at this picture and I've got all this stonework and black windows and fancy pretty numbers, if the street view looks different, then I know that they've redone it. And there have been some where it's been a major change, but a lot of times you can see at least small changes. So I'm going to click on Street View. No, it looks the same. I like the fence. I don't know why they didn't include the fence in these photos. And now I'm wondering about the folks who are selling this. The fence is, I don't understand the the deer. Those appear to not be real, but there are deer in the photo. And we can see the whole street. I still think they should have put the picture of this fence in for this house, though. That's really nice. So that can give you definitely some extra information. They let you set, I've never set up a tour with them before. I probably should. Facts and features. For the first few weeks, probably to a month, I didn't even think about clicking this button. I didn't think it mattered, but I've discovered that it really does. So click this button, and again, the top part is stuff that you knew. It's got central air. It also has ceiling fans, and the central air, it runs on electric. So especially if it's an older home, I guess there's a chance that nobody's put central air in, that you don't even have an HVAC. And that's something that they probably wouldn't advertise in the write-up, that you would need to check down here to see. Especially for first-time home buyers, the appliances included list is really important. If you're like, I'm not gonna have money to also buy new appliances, knowing what appliances are coming with the house is very important. So it lists, for this house, a cooktop, dishwasher, disposal, ice maker, microwave, oven, range, and refrigerator. I do not know what the difference between cooktop and range are. I think they're the same thing. If I'm wrong, correct me down in the comments, please. But yes, I've seen some houses where it's literally just the range, oven, and dishwasher. So in those instances, you have to buy your own refrigerator. Microwave is not that big of a deal, but you need to buy your own microwave. Now, I've also seen them specifically in a couple of flips where it also lists the washer and dryer here because they bought an entire suite of appliances, probably as a bulk deal. Being a flipper, they got everything all together, they put it in the house. And so yes, the cost of all of those new appliances is in the cost of the home, but you're not then moving in and having to figure out how to purchase these other appliances, because as a renter, all of those things might have come with the place that you're currently renting. This one has some interesting features. So it'll have all sorts of things over here. Again, they're not going to spend a lot of time talking about the downsides for any house, but they'll list the things they see as pluses. So this house, it says it doesn't have a dining room, but we saw one in the pictures. So my assumption is that it's calling it something else. So, and then you'll get the square footage. Most of the time that right up at the top will say like buyer to verify square footage. I don't think that's them trying to lie to you or to pull one over on you. I think that they're doing their best with these measurements. If it's important to you that it's a specific size because you have a specific bed or something, you might want to, prior to purchasing, like go in there with a tape measure and verify that the rooms that you need to be a specific size are a specific size. So parking features, it does have a driveway. So one of my questions I would have if I were going to go tour this house is, it says that it has a plug-in for an electric vehicle. If there's not a garage, then where is that and how is that, and is it out like in the rain? How does that work if there's not a garage? So property, it does have a pool, fully fenced. Yeah, they should have put pictures of the fence in there. I think that would have helped. This part down here is the boring part, and it is very important. So you've got your type of home, the materials your home is made of. So it's got fiber cement, which I'm not quite sure what that is, but brick and stone. Okay, so you keep scooting down. The community features, there are street lights on this street, which, believe it or not, there are some streets without them, and it gets a little scary at night. It's telling you which subdivision it's in. This other facts this is a place where I've found a lot of really important things. There have been houses that I've wondered, like, why is that price? That's a really good house. There was one that was like $190. It was a 3.2. It's very close to that other house that I like so much that was so much more expensive. And I couldn't figure out why until I looked in this other facts, and road surface was unmaintained, I think it was. It was basically a dirt road that the city does not maintain. And there are a few, even though we're the capital city, we have them in the city limits. I understand a reason that that house is at that price, probably, and something that as much as I might like that house, that I couldn't handle. The other thing that you'll notice that will come up in this, I believe it ends up in other facts, public sewer, I believe is what it's called, or if it has a septic tank. And some of you guys are saying, well, why does that matter? I've never lived anywhere with a septic tank. I have no idea how to care for a septic tank. I see commercials for different things you're supposed to flush and do and all of this, I would just not be comfortable with a septic tank for my first house. All things equal, I would rather be on city sewer, and I don't know if septic tank means that I then don't have city water and I have to deal with a well, and I don't know how to deal with all of that. So those things are really important to me. So it's something that can take a house off the list for me, and it's buried down here in this little check mark. And so that's why it's important to check out these little parts, even if they're not the cool, fun, looking at the pictures kind of parts of things. So I'm gonna scroll here. Okay. So here's the Zestimate, which is I don't know why, sometimes they're up top, sometimes it's down here. Zillow thinks this house is worth about $200,000 less than it is. My guess is because of all of the fancy schmancy maximalist stuff that they've done in this house. That's why they're pricing it as they are. It's up to the buyer if it's worth that to them. It's not my taste, but I'm assuming it's somebody's because somebody did it. So this is the next part that to me is really important. And this is where I'm a little confused because I had assumed that this was a flip. And if you look here, the last time it was sold was 11 years ago. Normally, if it's a flip, you'll have a sale date within a year or so of the new listing. And so I guess the people who've had it since 2011 just decided that this style was cool for them as far as resale, or maybe they hired someone to redo it in this manner so that they could sell it. It looks fancy, but it didn't look like people lived in that. And so that's kind of where I am. You also see how much it has appreciated. So the first time that they have a public record of it being sold was in 2010. And then a year later, so I'm assuming someone fixed it up here and flipped it. So it went from 107,000 to 190,000. And that's right after the recession ended. So it wasn't one of those kinds of, buy it. I guess 2010 would be kind of in the tail end of the recession stuff. And then up, so to have gained 77.6% of value, it was probably fixed up at that point. You can then see what it's worth as far as property taxes go. You can see the complete, so this is what the city said that this house was worth in 2021. And the tax assessment just went up 1.4%. So this is nowhere close to this. And so I don't know as far as, I don't think the city is sitting on $500,000 of value. So I'm assuming that it hasn't been reassessed since they redid all of this fancy stuff. Scrolling down to the monthly cost. This is another place where for months I just said, okay, the estimated monthly cost of this house would be $4,805. Good. And I didn't really pay attention to the rest of this. So one thing to always look at is HOA fees. If they've reported to Zillow that there's a homeowners association and its fees, they'll have that here. And they'll have that as, like, if it's something you pay monthly, they'll have it divided out. So if it's $120 a year, they'll have it in there as $10 a month. I've never seen them where utilities are included, but I guess maybe in condos, because like I said, I don't really spend a lot of time with the condos. But here's the part that is important for you as a first-time home buyer. Where it says principal and interest. So according to this, my mortgage would be $3,924, just the mortgage part. And you click. And there's this whole menu here. So here's the house price. So if you paid full price. If your down payment was $149,980, which is 20%. If you've got a 30-year fix, and then it gives you an estimate of what a 30-year fix's interest rate is. So right now it has it at 6.833. So let's say you don't have 20%, but you want this house. Let's say you only have 5%. Now it has changed it. So your monthly mortgage cost now is, your estimated monthly cost in total is $5,992. And part of that is because you now have mortgage insurance, because if you pay under 20%, from what I understand, you have to pay mortgage insurance. And I think if you do FHA, you always have to do mortgage insurance. With conventional, and don't quote me, I'm not an agent, I'm just a buyer, a first-time home buyer. But once you've hit 20% with conventional, there's a way to get mortgage insurance removed once you've got 20% equity in the house. But with FHA, I think you can't. I think it's just part of it for forever. So that changes things. So, but let's say you somehow managed to get an interest rate of 5.8%. So we went down a little bit. $5,512 a month is your estimated payment. Now, keep in mind, this is estimated. Zillow is not, and no one is guaranteeing that that's what your payment is going to be. It's just a way to go into it from an educated standpoint. So you can play with this I play with this a lot. So what if my down payment were different? What if I had a 5-year ARM, which left it at 5.8%, but my estimated monthly cost went up to $5,661. And my mortgage insurance went up because I guess with an ARM, they're more nervous about that. I don't know. So this is a good place to look, especially if you know, hey, I don't have the best credit, so I'm going to have a higher interest rate, or I don't have this, that, or the other. My interest rate is going to be different. So that's going to be a part of it. And so continuing to scroll down, if you wanted to rent this, that is nowhere close to what the monthly cost is, so it probably wouldn't make sense to buy this as a rental property. It tells you the schools that it's near, and it tells you other homes in the area and what they're going for. I don't know who those people are. This is one place that I didn't used to scroll this far, and I have found it really, really helpful. So here's where our house is, $749K. The house next door looks like it went for $524. The house next door on this side only went for $218. The house across the street for $499. So especially if I'm wondering, like, this seems overpriced. Is this overpriced? You don't have to wait for your agent to kind of verify or not verify that. You can look here and see, you know what? There's a lot of houses in the neighborhood that are going for far less. That doesn't mean that they're going to take less. That means that you need to decide that this house means that much to you. But it's so important to go into these decisions and to make these decisions from a position of knowledge. I'm going to take those off. So the more you know, the better you are going into things. The more that you understand, the better you are going into things. And so that's, I think, the most important thing. And that's what I love about Zillow. And in case I forgot to say this earlier, this is absolutely not sponsored whatsoever. Zillow has no idea I'm making this video. I don't think Zillow knows that I exist, other than as someone who uses it. I do have an account and all of that, but nobody's paying me. I'm not paying anybody. Zillow is free, if I also didn't say that. This is just me trying to be helpful. I'm not making anything off of this. There's one more thing that I wanted to show you. We're going to scroll back up. So I want to click away from this house, and there was another tab that I said I would show you in a minute, and that is the More tab. So this is how I find the open houses. You click here and it will just show you homes with an open house. This is where there's also, you can have very specific requests, more like if you have to have a garage, if it is super important for you that you have a garage, you can click this button. If there's specific square feet you have to have, if you don't want anything of a certain age, or you only want something from the 30s in town, we could actually probably find a bunch of those. If you need a basement, you're going to be out of luck kind of in Florida, but if you can't do stairs and it has to be a single story home, this is the place to click that button, and you don't even have to scroll past any 2-story homes. You'll get only the single story home. Senior living, if you don't want to be in a single living, you can click there. Amenities, if you insist that you have a pool. Different views that you're looking for. If you just want something that's been on Zillow for a while, and there are some here that have been on Zillow for a hot minute, so you can get those. But this is where I find the open houses. Must have open house. They're divided into 2 categories, and I should have mentioned this earlier because even without the open house it is. Things other, so we've got 500 again. It's more than 500, but it says 500. And we have 46 other listings. Other listings means it's something that is up for auction, or it is something that is for sale by owner. Foreclosures, I think also, I've seen them actually in both places, but generally speaking, it's an auction or a for sale by owner. And they're all under the separate tab. So when you go under must have open house, you're not going to get all of the open houses in this 36, but you're also going to have, for this one, it's only 3 for sale by owner. The other thing, we've got 36 agent listings. We can sort by newest, we can sort by price, we can sort by bedrooms. So it's going to give you, and then here in the top corner, it's going to tell you when the open house is and what time. So this one is next weekend, but this one is tomorrow. So when you're in the week of it, it'll say the day and the time. If it's more than a week out, it'll give you the date instead of the day of the week and the time. And when it gets closer, it'll switch that to the day. And so that is how the open houses work. We don't go to open houses for, here we've got, where was it? $979,000. There's not really a reason to go to that open house other than to be a looky-loo, and I think I'd feel uncomfortable. But if you'd like to see us go to super fancy schmancy open houses, give us a comment down below and we could give it a shot. It'd be interesting to see Liam out here in this open house. Finally, when you see a house that you like and you've got these little hearts, you click it and it puts them in your saved homes. Now, saved homes is great for a number of reasons because, like I said, there's 500, like I said, there are 500 listings just in Tallahassee of homes that I really, of homes that are available. So by having the saved homes, it shows me the ones that I'm very much interested in or want to keep an eye on, because sometimes there's just something about it that's weird or odd or different, and I'm like, what are they thinking? And so I'll go ahead and save it there too, which is how I have 72 saved homes. The other thing that saved homes will do is, so it won't tell you when a house goes into contingency, and that's something I should have mentioned before. So what it'll do, let me find one. Here we go. So this is actually another Midtown house, and it's a much lower price. It's actually really close to where I am, but it's a bit small for what I want. But you'll see it says under contract. And so down here under price history, you'll be able to see the day that it went under contract. So contingent means that someone has put in an offer and it has been accepted. That does not mean that it is sold. It means that someone's put in an offer. One thing that I have noticed about Zillow is that maybe 40% of the time the houses come back out of contingency and it'll go back on the market. That makes me a little nervous as a potential first-time buyer, but it also I think will make it less of a problem if something happens and this happens to me. I know that it is common. It's certainly not rare, and it is definitely not uncommon. And there are some homes that go into contingency and back out, into contingency and back out, into contingency and back out. Once it's happened multiple times, I get nervous that there's something foundational or something important that is problematic in this house. And so I will keep watching, but I'm not going to be quite as on top of my interest in it, because I'm like, either there's a roofing issue, a foundation issue, there's something wrong that people keep not being able to follow through with the purchase. There's something that the bank isn't willing to loan them the money. There's a reason for that. And so that's something to also watch out for. But looking back down here, so this one was on the market for a while. It was on the market here. They lowered the price here, and then we got an offer 2 months after they lowered the price. In my saved homes, I also keep up with, this is another one. Here, I'll show you this. This house, it's a little small because it's only 2 bedrooms, and I really wanted a third. But if you go down to right here, you'll see that they had a price drop to mid-October. End of October, they had an offer that they accepted, but then early November, back on the market. And that's happened now twice. They had an offer back in September and it fell out. They dropped the price, got another offer, and it fell out again. With it just happening twice, that to me isn't a red flag. It's when we're looking at 4 or 5 plus times. I can show you one. So this house has actually been on the market since January of 2022. They got an offer in February, it fell out. They dropped the price, they got another offer in March, it fell out. Offer in April, it fell out, and it fell out late too, up to June. Got an offer in August, it fell out, and now they've dropped the price again. So it's been on the market for almost a year. I don't know what's up with it. I have absolutely no information whatsoever. I just can make some educated guesses based on that continuous cycle of offers and then something happening that it's not going through. I really hope that this helped and you've gotten a lot out of it. I'm gonna go ahead and go because I think we're about as long as we could possibly be with this, but we'll be back next week with more open houses with Liam and Hi. We hope to see you then, and goodbye.